The Seven Mysteries. Have you heard of the Seven Mysteries? It's a collection of eerie tales specific to schools, like the anatomy model in the science lab that moves, or how, if you climb the stairs at a certain time, an extra step seems to appear. There are even stories of Beethoven's eyes moving in the music room. I'd like to share a terrifying experience related to these mysteries. As my third year of school came to a close, strange occurrences began to unfold frequently. Things would inexplicably vanish from desks. Students would injure themselves in seemingly empty spaces. Metal pipes fell from the gym ceiling, and fires broke out. Each time, the teachers would admonish us to be careful. But the incidents grew so bizarre that rumors spread among the students. According to these rumors, our school was said to have its own seven mysteries, much like those we often hear about. At first, I dismissed it as nonsense. However, my perspective shifted dramatically when a tragic accident occurred. A friend of mine died at school. Before this tragedy, he had been playing with a group of classmates at the rooftop pool, which had been slated for demolition since last year. While I don't know all the details, they were exploring the seven mysteries when he tragically drowned. Days later, they found him submerged in the pool, his body bloated from swallowing the contaminated water, filled with muck and algae, rotting away in a grotesque state. We were all left in a state of shock. This friend was not only athletic but also intelligent and cautious. How could he have died in a seemingly innocent pool? It was absurd. Even if he had acted carelessly, how could someone die just from falling into a pool? His fascination with the seven mysteries seemed to have played a role in his death. I suspected that I wasn't alone in imagining the horrors of what could have happened that day. The faces of my friends were pale, etched with fear. In the following days, talking about his death became taboo among us. After attending his funeral and being bombarded with questions about him, we were all mentally exhausted. One friend, Kay, who had been particularly anxious, kicked over a desk and chair upon entering the classroom one day, glaring at everyone with wild eyes, declaring, "I can't take this anymore," and he never returned to school again. No one dared to mock Kay for his breakdown. About 2 weeks after the accident, I found myself alone in the classroom one afternoon. Around 6 p.m., the sun had set and darkness enveloped the room. I began to wonder what the seven mysteries really were. The significant incidents had occurred in various places. The classroom where a mass of belongings had vanished, the third-floor hallway where a student was injured, the gym where a pipe had fallen, the storeroom that burned down, and the cursed rooftop pool. That made 5. If the mysteries were real, where would the remaining 2 occur? I couldn't even fathom it. Every incident, every location, felt utterly chaotic. Suddenly, I glanced at the clock. It was just past 6 p.m., yet everything around me felt sinister. The recent accident and the notion of the seven mysteries left me feeling hyper-aware of my surroundings. The classroom felt dreadfully eerie. Usually, a few students would remain for self-study at this hour, but now not a single soul was present. The perfectly arranged desks felt like a scene from a horror movie. Then, a door creaked open, and my heart nearly stopped. It was a classmate, but he didn't acknowledge me. He walked straight to the window, grabbed a black bag hanging there, and left without a word. What the hell? I felt a strange sense of relief, but something was off. This classmate seemed different somehow. Then it struck me. He was carrying the same black bag that belonged to my friend who had died in the pool. When he left the classroom, I could have sworn I saw him smile at me. I felt like I was losing my mind. I needed to escape, but the thought of running into him again paralyzed me. I took a deep breath, traced the character for person in my palm, and swallowed it down. I inhaled again. The clock still read just past 6 p.m. I had to leave the classroom. It should have been simple. I just had to avoid him. Reassured by that thought, I bolted from the classroom. I raced down the empty hallways, darting past empty classrooms and flying down the stairs, reaching the entrance lined with lockers in no time. Then I froze. Someone was standing near the lockers. Upon closer inspection, I noticed they were holding that same black bag. I'd had enough. Suddenly, they turned to face me. It was Kay. He was the one who had said, "I can't take this anymore," and never returned to school. "Kay!" I shouted, rushing toward him. "Oh, it's you," he said, surprisingly calm. The only thing out of place was the black bag in his hand. Unable to hold back my curiosity, I blurted out, "What's with the bag?" Kay froze, locking eyes with me as if time had stopped. A chill ran down my spine. Then he began to laugh maniacally. "Do you really want to know?" Fear gripped me. "I'm heading home now. See you," I stammered, quickly slipping on my shoes and leaving him behind. I rushed home and crawled into bed fully clothed. The next day at school, something felt off. When I walked into the classroom, an awful stench hit me. A mix of sewage and decay. Students huddled at the back of the room, where my desk was located. My desk was stained a ghastly green color, an ominous, slimy green. What the hell? As I approached, I realized it was covered with tiny particles, all packed together. It was undoubtedly algae, the very same I had seen in the abandoned pool. I felt nauseous, covering my mouth in disgust. This had to be Kay's doing. What was he thinking? I asked my friends, and they all had the same theory. But where was Kay? We decided to search for him at the abandoned pool. When we reached the stairs leading to the roof, the no trespassing sign was filthy with algae. We exchanged worried glances and, finding the door unlocked, we stepped inside. Just as I was about to take a step forward, a blood-curdling scream echoed. It was Kay. We rushed to see what was happening. And there he was, covered in algae, screaming and flailing like a madman, swinging that same black bag around as if trying to ward off an unseen force. We could do nothing but watch in horror. Eventually, the faculty arrived after receiving the commotion and restrained Kay, dragging him away. The image of that scene is still burned into my memory. What happened to Kay afterward? I still don't know what the 7 mysteries truly were. After that incident, I convinced my parents to transfer me to another school in a different prefecture. Nothing strange happened there, but to this day, whenever I see a black bag, I remember that unsettling classmate who entered the room and Kay's deranged expression.